With set 2 of Star Wars Unlimited Shadows of the Galaxy dropping July 10th, which is very soon, I figure now is a great time to talk about all things Star Wars Unlimited. I'm talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to TCG Madness. And in today's video, it's going to be something a little bit different. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I've done one of these in the past before. This is going to be all about Star Wars Unlimited, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you guys don't remember, if you're a longtime member of this channel, you guys may remember that I did a Disney Lorcana, the good, the bad, and the ugly, where I talked about all things Disney Lorcana, things that I liked, things that I didn't like, and then the cause for concerns for Disney Lorcana. But this time we're doing that exact same type of format video, but we're going to talk about all things Star Wars Unlimited. Things I like, things I don't like, and things that give me great concern for the future of Star Wars Unlimited. But before we go any forward, if you guys can just do me the really big favor right now, please hit that like button. If you're new, consider hitting that subscribe button. Listen, if you're a fan of anything TCG related, collectible card game related, anything like that, this is the channel you're going to want to be with. We talk about all things trading cards, collectible cards, all that kind of stuff. You're not going to find anything else on this channel. All TCG all the time. So like I said, if you like that, if you're a cardboard junkie just like myself and many others, hit that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. So last time I did this video, I talked about Disney Lorcana, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I think I jumped a little too quick on that video. So this time for Star Wars Unlimited, I really just wanted to wait a little bit until they're very close to set number 2. Now, I didn't know it was going to take a long time for set number 2 to drop. I didn't know we were going to get 4 months in between. If you don't know, July 10th is set number 2 is the release date for Star Wars Unlimited. Set 1 released in March 8th. So we've had almost exactly 4 months in between set 1 and set 2. And so I figured now's a good time to talk about all things Star Wars Unlimited. I was just going to wait just a little bit until set 2 was at least announced or close to its release date before I really talk about and get all my opinions out there of Star Wars Unlimited, because I got a lot to say about it. A lot of it's really good, but there are some things that do give me great concern, and there is a couple of things that I'm not too thrilled about with Star Wars Unlimited. And again, if you guys disagree with any of this stuff, please also comment down below in the comment section. Let me know what some of your guys' thoughts are. Let me know if you guys are excited for Star Wars Unlimited. I'm a big fan of Star Wars Unlimited. Let me get this out of the way too. I'm a very, very, very big fan of Star Wars Unlimited. I've made a ton of content going over all different types of decks, budget decks, full power decks. I've done a lot of stuff where I do the tabletop simulation. I do a lot of battles with Star Wars Unlimited. I do a lot of duel nights with Star Wars Unlimited. Star Wars Unlimited is an amazing game. So I may come off a little biased in this video, but I did my best to really sit down and think about all the things that are really good, the things that are not so good, and then there are some things that give me great concern, the ugly category, that we will talk about all in this video. I mentioned too, this video is going to be a little bit different, so the format of this video will be very different. If you want to skip ahead, if you want to, sit through all of this, I really do appreciate it. But if you want to skip ahead, there will be some chapters. There'll be the good, the bad, the ugly, and then there'll be a full recap of this. If you want to skip ahead to all that kind of stuff, feel free. But I mentioned this video is a little bit different. This video just basically just gonna be me, the camera, this microphone. We will use a couple of other tools and resources, a little couple of articles. We will use TCG Player to kind of really drive home my points. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's go ahead and start off with the good. Okay, let's go ahead and kick off with all the good things about Star Wars Unlimited. Now, I did mention at the beginning of this video, I am a huge fan of Star Wars Unlimited. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way too. I hope and pray that Star Wars Unlimited has tremendous success. I would love nothing more to see all of that too. I really do think that with this card game being released, it's gotten off to a little bit of a bumpy start. Now, it had tremendous success in the fact that it all sold out everywhere. However, though, that doesn't translate to it long-term success. If product is always going to be $200, $250 a booster box, I can't imagine players sticking around long-term for stuff like that when there are cheaper alternatives. So let's go ahead and talk about some really good things about Star Wars Unlimited. First and foremost, artwork. Specifically, showcase cards and hyperspace cards. Those are some of the best looking cards I think I've ever seen. Star Wars Unlimited did a great job with coming right out of the gate and introducing alternative arts, showcase cards, hyperspace cards. They're all fantastic. They're great to look at. They're very appealing to the eye. Especially those showcase cards. Those cards, long term, they're going to be around. They're always going to hold value because they're beautiful. They definitely look good graded. They're definitely hyper collectible, which is something that, you know, in a trading card game, a game that wants to be more playable than collectible, is going to go bode well to bring in both players and collectors alike. See, when a card game brings in both players and collectors alike, that's where you get really good success. But you also need to start lowering your prices, which is something we'll talk about a little bit later. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but showcase cards, excellent. They hold their value. They're very expensive. To pull some of them too is not the most difficult thing in the world, which is also great. So they're easy to obtain, not the easiest to obtain, but they are somewhat easy to obtain. If if you got big deep pockets, you buy yourself a case. I'm pretty sure you do get one per case or maybe two per case. I forget exactly how the breakdown is. So don't quote me exactly on that. Maybe if you guys have actually done that and or have seen people do videos or they do case breaks, maybe you guys can comment down below on this video. You know, if you buy a case, are you guaranteed 1 to 2 showcase cards? I know like Disney Lorcana, if you buy a case, you get 2 enchanted cards. Like you're automatically going to get 2 out of the 4. So maybe there's someone can comment on that and maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong on a lot of things or a couple of things here. But again, this is mostly just an opinion video. Comment down below if you guys know the full breakdown. But speaking of artwork and showcase cards, let's talk a little bit about the value. So the value of these cards are also fantastic. And to really drive this point home, we're going to go ahead and jump to TCG Player, because I really want to go ahead and show you the value of these showcase cards have definitely held up. But also to these hyperspace cards, which are like these, they slip in these little extra like alternative art looking cards. They too have actually held their value very, very well. And there are some cards that a regular version of a card is maybe like, you know, a couple of bucks, maybe even 25 cents. And then a hyperspace card is almost 3, 4, 5, 6 times the value. All right, so now we're here at TCG Player, and I want to go ahead and really drive this point home. You'll notice here at the top category right here of the hyperspace cards, Energy Conversion Lab, $15.31. Tarkenton Town, $9.99. Security Complex, Hyperspace, $7.21. Jeddah City, Hyperspace, $4.98. And then right there to your right, and regular Energy Conversion Lab is 25 cents. Like I said, that is like 100 times more its value. I mean, just take a look at this too, like $15.31, and if you get a foil version of it, look at the price for foil. It's insane. Kudos to Fantasy Flight Games for slipping these in there because it gives that extra value to a booster box. See, I've always said this too. If you're going to spend a lot of money on a booster box, you better damn well sure put some good value cards in these booster boxes. Make it worth my value, my time, and my hard-earned dollars. Now, when I spend money on a booster box, I'm not saying we should get 100% back return investment. I'm never going to say that because that's not realistic. And I fully understand that. But the idea that we should spend $100 on booster box and only get $10, $20, or $30 back in cards, that should not be the norm. It should never be the norm, and we should never put up with crap like that. But this is excellent right here. If I am spending $150 to $200 on a booster box, and I pull just a couple of these type of cards, and there are a lot of hyperspace cards, so you can damn sure get your money back in just hyperspace cards. But you can at least get back 50 to 75%. See, if we got 50 to 75% every time on a booster box, and I'm talking about return on your investment, you're not going to feel that bad about spending a lot of money on a booster box. If I spend $200 and I get 100, 150 back in return, I'm okay with that, you know? I'm okay with that. I can use other cards for trade bait. I can go out to my locals. Maybe I can, sell back the cards I don't want anymore and maybe get a little bit of money back in my return. So then I turn around and say, well, I actually end up spending $100 on this booster box. I end up getting these cards that I wanted. I got some money back. And maybe I'll save up next week, get my next week's paycheck. Maybe I'll just go back out and try my luck, or get the cards that I'm missing to build a deck, or get the cards that I'm missing to fill out a binder. See, those are the things that I really do appreciate, and I really come to appreciate about Star Wars Unlimited, because there's a lot of cards just like this. I'm gonna go ahead and show you just a couple of more examples of what I'm talking about. Now, what I just showed you earlier, those were just standard base cards. Like literally, they were standard base cards. They don't really particularly add that much value to it. The bases are just, exactly what it is. It tells you how much life you have in a game, 25, 30, and maybe the 25 HP bases actually have some kind of ability attached to them. So they're really not that important. They're not important enough to the game where they really should cost $15, $16, $17. But I really want to drive the point home with some additional rares. You'll see right here, this is a rare, red 1, a rare, so your chances of getting this card is pretty high. And you can see Hyperspace, normal version and foil version, $23 to $36 in market price. And you can see how it's been selling, 18.24, and I'm guessing this was a near mint foil for $36. So even a regular rare is holding tremendous value. What's the cost of just a regular red 3? Well, there you go, $7. So that's almost 3 times the value in just a hyperspace and 4 times the value for a foil. These hyperspaces really add a ton of value to your booster box, and you do get a lot of hyperspaces per booster box. Those are all really good things from Star Wars Unlimited. Another good thing that it has going for it is that it's iconic. And what I mean by iconic is I mean that it's Star Wars. Star Wars has been, you know, been around since the 1992. When was the first movie dropped? Maybe 1986, I believe. Correction. Quick Google search shows me that actually the first Star Wars movie release date was 1977. So it's been around for that long. Everybody's synonymous with Star Wars. It's very iconic. So because of that, it immediately gets a boost, just like Disney Lorcana did, right? When Disney Lorcana first, it had a name Disney attached to it. Therefore, everybody was synonymous with it. It was already popular right out of the gate just because it had the word Disney attached to it. Star Wars, no different. Has the Star Wars name attached to it, therefore going to be really popular. Another great thing about Star Wars Unlimited is the gameplay. I cannot tell you. It's easy to pick up. It's easy to almost master this gameplay, and it's a ton of fun. And that's something we always miss in our card games, right? There's always this idea that when a card game comes out, we're all automatically looking for decks to break the format and to come up with combo pieces and OTKs. Star Wars Unlimited has none of that, and I am all here for it. I'm all here for the idea that there's a ton of different decks that can be the top tier decks, and you can create budget decks, which I've done plenty of. If you want to see, there'll be links down below in the description box for all these type of videos. I've done a bunch of budget deck profiles, and you can build a budget deck with this card game and have a lot of fun playing it. And of course, then if you want to go ahead and dig deeper into your pockets, pull out a bunch of money, put it into that one deck, yeah, it'll probably be a top tier deck, and there's plenty of those top tier decks. There isn't just 1 or 2 top tiers and every other deck is crap. All the cards so far are usable at some point, which is another great thing I love about Star Wars Unlimited, that all these cards right now are playable. Granted, I know it's only one set, I totally understand that, but there have been a lot of card games that by set 2 and 3, like all of this common and uncommon bulk just means absolute nothing and it's all trash. So far, Star Wars Unlimited has done a really good job with each card at least having some type of, you know, spot somewhere in a deck, you know, whether it's, you know, a different format, which we'll talk about here in a second, or like I said, if you want to just build a nice budget deck profile. Gameplay is just mwah, it's chef's kiss, it's a lot of fun. And again, it's not this, you know, I get a turn, then you get a turn. No, we go back and forth playing something. If I play something, then you get to go do something. If I attack, then that's my, you know, you get to retaliate. There's this quick back and forth action, much like Flesh and Blood, that I really have loved about Star Wars Unlimited. And I think they do a better job of it than a Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood uses a lot of more combo pieces. Star Wars is not there doing combo pieces yet. Hopefully they don't, actually, because I think it's actually better this way. This whole combo off thing that is really driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts with Magic the Gathering. It's driving me nuts with Yu-Gi-Oh! It's drove me nuts with Disney Lorcana. I like that there's finally one game at the moment that doesn't have a combo piece, that you play one card and this whole like board, you know, everything just, it combos off this card and this card over here and then this card over here. I'm so tired of that right now, that I'm so glad Star Wars Unlimited is not like that. I hope it never becomes that. I like the whole back and forth action. We all get to do something. It does make the game draw out a little bit longer, but it does feel fair and fun. Like if you're behind, there's still a chance that you can come back and win the game. And I like that about Star Wars Unlimited. Too many times that once you're beating up your opponent, there ain't no coming back for it. And you might as well just scoop up your hand, scoop up your deck, reshuffle, and play a new game because you're already over with. So I like the gameplay from Star Wars Unlimited. Keep going with that format. The back and forth action is perfect. Now, I did mention that they do have different formats, and that's something I really want to talk about here. Another thing I really do like about Star Wars Unlimited is that right out of the gate, they came out with new formats. Love that we have new formats right out of the bat. You had, of course, your standard format, and then you had a format called Twin Suns, which is going to be their way of competing with Magic the Gathering. And hopefully, it's not taken off right now, and that's because there's not a whole lot of, there's only 2 still, actually, technically still 1 set time of this recording. But in 6 days, we're going to get set number 2. I really do think by the 3rd and 4th set, we're going to see that format really start to open up. Not in the 2nd set, but by the 3rd and the 4th format, we really will see that format open up. Now, why? because Twin Suns, if you don't know, is their version of Commander in Star Wars Unlimited. If you don't know what Commander is a Magic the Gathering format that uses 100 cards, all singles. In other words, you cannot have duplicates in your deck. Star Wars Unlimited does that exact same thing. It has a commander, a pilot at the helm of your deck, but in this format though, they actually have 2 commanders or 2 pilots at the helm of your deck, and 60 cards, all singles. In other words, no duplicates for in the Star Wars Unlimited format, just like Commander. Now, right now, it hasn't taken off, and there's not a lot of people making content on it and stuff like that. That's because it's really hard to make decks when you only have one set. But I do like that Star Wars Unlimited just right out the gate said, hey, we already have a new format, Twin Suns, it's the competitor to Magic the Gathering's Commander. Obviously, once we get more sets that come out, hopefully this format does take off. I'm a huge Commander fan. I love Commander. I play a lot. We usually get a group together every other Friday. We play. We have been testing out the Star Wars Unlimited format of Twin Suns. It's a lot of fun, but there is that problem at the moment. There's just one set. So once we get a second set, once we get that third set, that fourth set, oh man, I really do think that format's going to take off, and it'll really be beneficial to Star Wars Unlimited's success. And the last good thing I really want to talk about Star Wars Unlimited is the AI tools. Now, if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about the deck builders, and I'm talking about the tabletop simulation. If you guys don't know, there's a simulation out there called Felt Table, I believe, or Star Wars Unlimited Felt Table. You can Google it. It's an AI format that allows you to build a deck and play against an AI opponent. And you can actually pick your opponent's deck, and you can pick how they want to play, whether it's aggro, whether it's by default, which is pick the best move, or whether they play control. If you guys want to know the tools that I use for Star Wars Unlimited, how I do my deck builders, how I do a lot of the AI tabletop simulations, there'll be links down below to all of that. It's an amazing tool for any player or anybody looking to get into Star Wars Unlimited. You can build a deck, you can test it out, and you can play against the AI opponent, which is fantastic. And again, I've done plenty of content about it. Go check it out if you want. It's a great tool. And I like that Star Wars, again, this isn't actually, Star Wars Unlimited or Fantasy Flight Games didn't create this. Someone else created this. But I like that these tools are available for us to use. And it's a good thing for Star Wars Unlimited. Hopefully they don't do what Disney Lorcana does, and they've already gone after people that have created these simulations and the AI simulations, and they have shut down servers and Discords. Hopefully Fantasy Flight Games does not do this, because this is actually a very beneficial tool. It does work against them a little bit. I'll also talk about that in a second. But it is more it's a more net positive than it is a net negative for them. So hopefully that sticks around. So those are all the good things that I really have to say about Star Wars Unlimited. If you guys think I missed anything, please comment down below and let me know what you guys think. For a quick recap, let's go ahead and go over all the categories. I said it was iconic. The artwork is fantastic. The showcase cards are fantastic. The hyperspace cards are fantastic. They also have good value to them. The gameplay is awesome, and it's really smooth. The back and forth action is a lot of fun, and it definitely makes for great gameplay. I also said that they have great formats. That's Fantasy Flight Games was smart to come right out of the gate and create a new format. And I do like that the AI tools are available for us to use right now for Star Wars Unlimited, especially with product being very expensive at the moment. Those are all the good things I have to say about Star Wars Unlimited. Now let's go ahead and jump to the bad. Okay, kicking off with the bad category, the first thing I'm going to get right out of the way for Star Wars Unlimited is it's just too expensive right now, guys. Star Wars Unlimited right now, set 1 I believe is hovering around $210, and pre-sales for set 2 is anywhere between $150 to $175. It's very expensive right now to jump into this hobby, especially if you want to get into Star Wars Unlimited. The top tier decks are going to run you a ton of money. You're talking about anywhere between $400 to $500 a deck. The most popular deck being right now the Vader green deck or a Boba Fett deck. The Vader card hovering around 60 to 90 bucks. Boba Fett cards hovering around 60 bucks as well. If you run 4 copies of it, you can already see that's already, $250, $300 or beyond. Right now it's very expensive. They definitely need to do reprints. The fact that they haven't done it already with set 1 is a little frustrating, a little disappointing. It's something I'll talk about later. But yeah, a little too expensive for my taste right now. Maybe get a one-off booster box, maybe see what you get. Especially if people want others to make content of Star Wars Unlimited, you need your product to be cheap. The cheaper it is, the more affordable it is for everybody else, for every household to go run out and make it, because content is king. And if it's too expensive, then I I personally can't, see myself buying a booster box at the moment. Maybe I'll go ahead and buy one booster box of set 2, make the content, see what kind of pull rates we get, see if it is profitable, see if we do get 50, 70 to 80% of our money back in return. But if you don't, and you spent, $175 to only get $50 cards back, I mean, I just lost out on 100 and something bucks. That doesn't feel good. That's not fun. There's plenty of other card games out there that the booster boxes are a heck of a lot cheaper than this, so I'd much rather just go spend my money on that. Good example, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is pretty cheap right now. I could just keep going spending, 4 or 5 booster boxes of Yu-Gi-Oh! For the cost of 1 booster box of Star Wars Unlimited. So a little too expensive. The prices need to come down, and that's nothing short of just making reprints. The other bad thing about Star Wars Unlimited is something I mentioned at the very beginning of this video. Set 1's release date, March 8th. Set 2 release date, July 10th. 4 months in between each set is not good, guys. Fantasy Flight Games, I don't know what you're doing with this. Why are we having this 4-month lull in between set 1 and set 2? That's too long in between sets, in my opinion. A good period between each set is at least 2 months. 2 months is perfect timing. You build the decks you want, you get the content out there that you want, you're grabbing the headlines for social media, right? People are making a bunch of decks from set 1, and they're playing it, they're going to their locals, people are building decks, you get the top tier decks out there. Set 2, 2 months later, boom, you're right back on schedule. More content gets made. 4 months in between each set is the reason why I haven't made Star Wars Unlimited content up until now, because I don't have anything else to kind of go off of right now, right? Set 2 is coming out in 6 days at the time of this recording, so set 2 is not even out yet. We have 6 more days before it comes out. 4 months in between sets, not good, especially if you're not going to drop anything else outside of just booster box sets. Shorten up your time frame in between sets, and you guys will actually have, in my opinion, more success. Another thing that I don't like about Star Wars Unlimited is something I actually don't like about a lot of card games outside of Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Magic the Gathering. That is no alternative product. Why, oh why do new card games do this to us? You can't just release booster boxes and booster box sets, especially if you're like this, Star Wars Unlimited. If you're gonna have 4 months in between each set, why not right in the middle of it you make an alternative product? New starter decks, new single starter decks, new 2-player starter decks, new little like gift boxes or Disney Lorcana. They have at least Illuminator treasure troves and gift box sets. That's at least some kind of alternative product. It's not perfect, but again, I don't know why people just don't take a page right out of Pokemon's book. Pokemon has a bunch of products. They have tins, mini tins, big tins, large tins, ETBs, blister pack sets, 3 booster pack sets. Make all of that if you're like Star Wars Unlimited. Just go nuts. If you actually don't want to do reprints of booster box sets, that's actually a great way to do reprint in a short amount of time. Just make alternative product and just slip in like 6 packs here, promos here, box toppers here, like all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like do little gift box sets, like a quasi ETB box with like a foldable gameplay mat or something like that, with some little cheap tokens, maybe some cheap dice. 6 to 8 booster packs and 1 promo, and just boom, right off the bat. $50 right there for MSRP. Send it out to all your Walmarts, send it out to all your Targets, and boom, right then and there. In between your 4 months of, again, when I say that out loud, it's crazy to me. 4 months in between each set, that's just crazy to me. But in between that 4 months, you can drop product like this every other month. And this way too, people don't like forget about you. Like, oh, look at that new product hit Walmart and Target. I can go run out and go grab it, and just print that in bulk like a motherfucker, man. Just let it all out there. Seriously, just let it all fly. Just drop all of that product right on us, man. That would be a great way to help also reduce prices of certain cards, and also to get us active constantly in buying product from you guys. Alternative product really needs to be at the forefront of a lot of these card games, and we just don't see enough of it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Does it pretty well, but Pokemon really does it the best. Magic the Gathering is a close second, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is right there in third. At least Disney Lorcana did it when they first dropped, and I give them kudos to them. But Fantasy Flight Games, man, I would be doing alternative products. Not just booster box and starter decks. I'm talking all of it, man. All ETBs, blister packs, all that kind of stuff, man. Just go freaking nuts with it. Another thing that I want to talk about that's in the bad category is the AI tools. Now, I did mention this at the end of the good category. Those AI tools that I mentioned can be a little bit of a problem for Star Wars Unlimited if they're not careful. What I mean by that is, again, when you have 4 months in between sets, or if your product is too expensive, Why on earth would I continue to buy a product if it's too expensive when I can just create a deck using a simple deck builder and then export that deck into an AI tabletop simulation, play it, test it out, and have fun? It's a double-edged sword. It can be both a good thing and a bad thing. I do think, however, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I do think in the grand scheme of things, it's a more net positive than a net negative. But again, if you don't lower your prices just a little bit, I'm not saying they have to drop booster boxes below $100, need to be $50 or something like that. I'm not saying any of that. But I am saying that the booster boxes need to be anywhere between 1 to 150. I think that 1 to 150 range, as long as those hyperspace cards and the showcase cards and the foil cards still hold their value, I still think Star Wars Unlimited would be a good investment and a good thing to buy and rip open and have some fun with. Those AI tools, though, can go against you a little bit. Again, it's a double-edged sword, but for the most part, it's a more net positive than a net negative. And last but not least, I do want to touch on this just a little bit for the bad category. This is not really a bad thing, but it is a little bit of a minor thing, so I'll go ahead and mention it. I do think long term, all these card games, speaks to Star Wars Unlimited, but it does speak to the grand scheme of all card games out there too. I do think there needs to be some kind of app version out there for all of them. You know, Grand Archive can really help and benefit themselves from having an app. Star Wars Unlimited can definitely benefit in having themselves an app version, much like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters or Pokemon or MTG Arena. All these apps, you know, Dragon Ball Super Fusion World has one now. It's a lot of fun. I really do think that if all these card games had some kind of app attached to them where you can download it, this way too it brings in new players that don't want to buy products right away. And that's why I said about the AI tools that can work against you as well. If people don't want to spend money on Star Wars Unlimited, they want to actually try it and play it and see if they even like it, they can build a deck, they can export it, they can play it on an AI tabletop simulation. But if they don't like it and they don't like the card game, then you run the risk of them just saying, nope, not for me. But if they had an app where they were getting some kind of achievements, they were getting some kind of maybe digital packs or something like that, maybe then they'll keep their attention long enough to keep coming them back. Maybe, I don't know, but I do think an app would be beneficial to them, and the fact that they don't have it does work against them a little bit, but it's not really that big of a deal. So that's going to do it for the bad category. So a quick recap on the bad category, we have it's a little too expensive at the moment. They took way too long in between sets. 4 months, you cannot let that happen again, guys. That's a very, very bad thing. And again, it's just saying that out loud really is crazy. Every time I say it out loud, like 4 months, damn, that's way too long for a set, especially when you had that much success with set 1. So maybe hopefully they clean that up in the future. The AI tools can work against them a little bit. The fact that there's no online version or app is a little bit of a bad thing, but not that big of a deal. And no alternative products. Again, if I'm someone in the CEO room of Fantasy Flight Games, man, I am doing that immediately. If you're gonna have 4 months in between each set, definitely start making some alternative products for sure. So that's it for the bad category. Now we're gonna move on to the ugly category. Now this category specifically talks only about the red flags that I see, or the potential red flags that I see for Star Wars Unlimited. And typically when I look at this category, I usually just pick one thing because there's a lot of good things about it, a couple of bad things about it, but there's one thing that gives me great concern about Star Wars Unlimited. And there's only one thing I really want to talk about in this category, and that is it's run by Fantasy Flight Games. For those of you that don't know, Fantasy Flight Games does not have a good track record with card games. They often don't put a lot of support. They often fumble a lot. They also make a lot of mistakes. And you can already see a crack or two in Star Wars Unlimited, particularly when we're talking about reprints and particularly when we're talking about 4 months in between each set. If you have a successful run on set 1, why on earth are you then taking 4 months in between to drop a set set number 2? That to me makes no sense, but that's how Fantasy Flight Games does things. They often don't put a lot of support and stuff that's very popular or successful. They often are involved into too many projects all at once. So because of that, they often things slip through the cracks, and Fantasy Flight Games, again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this category, does not have a good track record. I'm going to go ahead and shift now to a couple of articles I want to talk about, and it kind of really drives home this point. So let's go ahead and jump to article number 1. All right, the first article I want to talk about comes courtesy from dicebreaker.com, and there'll be a list of all these articles. So if you really want to read them all You can find all of it down below in the description box. So hat tip to Dice Breakers for this one. Headline: Star Wars Unlimited publisher says stock problems due to unprecedented success will be solved in waves. Today, Fantasy Flight Games didn't even know they were going to be that successful in the first place. They were like, "Well, this is unprecedented. We didn't know we were going to be this popular." Then it goes on. You read that headline, right? The very first sentence in this article should be, "We're having unprecedented success, which is why we are ramping up production and we're going to start printing immediately. We're going to do reprints right now." You go down and you read, less than 2 weeks, blah, 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 blah. Many were worried. You just keep reading. There's nothing about reprints or when they're going to solve it. They said they're just going to solve it in waves. So each time there's a new set, they're just basically going to drop reprints in that set. So with set 2 dropping, I guess we're going to get a little bit of a trickle of reprints of set 1. Not very good. Again, you can read all of this article, but, you know, here's everything it has to say. Again, if you want to read this article, I'm not going to go ahead and read all for you guys. I'm just going to go ahead and jump from the next article. The next article comes courtesy of Polygon. Fantasy Flight Games says that more Star Wars Unlimited TCG cards are on the way. Then you can see, you know, it goes on to then say, you know, the article goes on to say they were founded in 1995, opera starring Space Cats piece. Again, the very first sentence of this article should be, and that's what coming from whoever the CEO, whoever the president is, and that's why we're ramping up production immediately. We're going to get reprints out ASAP to you guys. Nope, it doesn't go on to say that. It just says barely a week old at this point, is a smash hit, and then it goes on to say that, you know, the publisher announced its plans to mitigate the issue. Nonetheless, according to Fantasy Flight Games statement, it was already assumed that launch product would run out. So they assumed that they were going to run out. They just didn't know they were going to run out this soon. So the strategy that they had formed for the inevitability is being put into motion a few weeks earlier. Although we still have stock available, blah, 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 product in measured waves until set 2. So there you go, right there. It says, discussing with our distribution partners is set to release the available product in measured waves until set 2 is released. In other words, and there it is right there, the quote, steady flow of new cards trickling in. So that's exactly what they're going to do. Set 2 is going to drop, and they're going to trickle in reprints of set 1. That ain't going to cut it, guys. That's not going to do it. Fantasy Flight Games, this is what worries me, because they don't have a good track record, guys. This worries me. This is red flag right here, red flag right now happening. Next article comes from, let's close that ad, comicbook.com. Star Wars Unlimited reveals set 1 reprint plans and adjustments to set 2. And this one was released April 27, 2024, so a couple of months ago. Star Wars Unlimited will deliver its hotly anticipated second set later this year with Shadows of the Galaxy, but fans are still trying to get their hands on the game's first set, Spark of Rebellion. Fantasy Flight Games revealed that they had to activate their product allocation plan much earlier than expected. So again, they were going to do this regardless of how popular they were. They did not anticipate them being this successful. The fact that they are this successful changed nothing of their plans. They're just like, I guess we'll just, you know, basically they're admitting we already have product of set 1 sitting back here that we're gonna eventually release to you guys. Not good enough, guys. Just freaking release it. Release it, get it to us, and then turn around and say, we are ramping up production of set 1 immediately. We're gonna get the personnel in here right away, and we're gonna print until everybody can get their hands on it, until prices come down, until we're sitting back at MSRP levels. You got 4 months in between each sets, man. Don't wait. Just do it. Drop it. Get it out to us. And just whatever you have there, drop it in between sets 1 and set 2. So 2 months after the release of set 1. And then when set 2 comes in, drop even more. And then when set 3 comes, drop even more. And just keep doing it. Keep reprinting until we see prices come down. Don't sit on it and hold on it and wait. Do it now. Don't wait. Again, this is what scares me about Fantasy Flight Games. They have a tendency of doing this. And for those of you, again, that don't know, again, Fantasy Flight Games discontinued RPGs. Back in, this was an article, February 18th of 2020, and then boom, right here. Here is a list of all the board games and card games that Fantasy Flight Games have basically discontinued because they don't support their own stuff. They have a tendency to release something. If it's very popular, they'll support it for a little bit, and then it inevitably just falls through, and it just eventually discontinues. The only thing, to my knowledge, that they have at this point is Star Wars, a couple of Marvel games. And if you don't, for those of you that don't know too, Fantasy Flight Games, really a board game company, which is why they haven't had success. They've been trying to get into the trading card market, and that is why they finally captured lightning in a bottle here with Star Wars Unlimited. They finally did it. They finally broke through that glass ceiling. They finally have something that's worth talking about, but they have a bad track record, and it's already getting me a little nervous. Here are all the card games that they have, you know, discontinued, and you can see they have one role-playing game, Star Wars role-playing game. At this point now, they pretty much just have Marvel, they have Star Wars, and they have one really popular board game called Arkham Horror. That's pretty much all of their flagship games now. A lot of this other stuff, I mean, there's some really big titles in here too. Warhammer, that's a big, you know, another Warhammer Invasion. Netrunner was a part of this. They also had Star Wars Destiny, which was also a card and dice game as well, that was very popular, that they did not support, and that eventually fell through during the COVID years. All in all, though, like I said, it really does like worry me that Fantasy Flight Games at the helm of Star Wars Unlimited. If it was anybody else, I probably wouldn't have this great concern. I probably wouldn't have anything to say in the other ugly category, but it is Fantasy Flight Games. They do have a bad track record. They've allowed one Star Wars game that was very popular slip through the cracks. That was Star Wars Destiny. A lot of fans loved that game. It was a lot of fun. They just had zero support, and then the COVID years officially killed it, but it was already dead before COVID. I mean, they really did not support it. They did not do the proper steps to add that additional support to the card game. All they have now is pretty much Marvel Crisis Protocol. They have another Star Wars tabletop minigame, and they have Arkham Horror, and now they have Star Wars Unlimited. Please, for the love of God, Fantasy Flight Games, do not make the same mistakes that you have done. It's already bad enough that you guys waited 4 months in between each set, and that you guys did not ramp up production and did not get reprints out to us sooner, and that you're only going to do this little trickling method. That trickling method never works. I don't know if they're doing that on purpose to try to keep the set one as expensive as it is. Maybe they think that's a good thing, but I promise you long term it's not a good thing. It's actually a very bad thing. It's already bad enough you guys waited 4 months in between sets 1 and 2, and I'm going to keep hammering that home. I know I'm going to sound like a broken track record. I apologize, but it does frustrate me a little bit because I am a big fan of this card game, and I really want to see this card game have a ton of success, and I really hope that Fantasy Flight Games they learn from their past mistakes, and they're finally here to correct it now, and they do support this game and give it a ton of support and a ton of love because it deserves it. It's a great game. The gameplay is excellent. The cards are awesome. The artwork's amazing. All of that is fun for a Star Wars fan and collector, and anybody who's enthusiastic about trading card games, collectible card games. This game has all of that. So please give it the support it needs, guys. Don't wait. Do it now, man. Ramp up that production. If you guys got to hire more personnel in there, you got to hire more printing machines, whatever you got to do, man, just get it done, get it out there, flood the market, make some alternative product, man. And I really do think Fantasy Flight Games has something here. Just give it the support it needs. Don't, you know, hopefully the next set 3 doesn't have 4 months in between. Hopefully it's like maybe like 2 months, maybe even 3 months. Even if you just want to shorten it by a month, that's cool too, man. I'm good with that. Just shorten it up just a little bit, get more product out there, keep printing set 1, just don't stop reprinting sets 1, get set 2 into our hands, stuff like that, man. Again, maybe I'm overthinking it. If you guys think I'm overthinking it, you guys can comment down below, and comment down below if you guys agree or disagree with anything I said with the good category, the bad category, the ugly category. Let me know all your guys' thoughts. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, again, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I really would appreciate it. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next time.